Welcome to this tutorial on the planet window. If you are a new Star Trek New Horizons or Stellaris player, this window may look a bit intimidating, but in actuality you will usually interact with only a small part of it. In this tutorial we are going to walk through all the menus, buttons and possibilities you can find here. Before we jump in, I just want to let you know that this tutorial is part of a series of tutorials on Star Trek New Horizons created by Cornish Ratbeard and Jamie Plays. You can see the playlist for all the tutorials linked in the description below as well as at the end of the video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channels. Let's jump in. You can open the planet window by clicking on a planet. Here, I am playing as the Undine, and I have clicked on their homeworld in fluidic space, Limin, opening its window. By default, this opens the Planet Summary tab. This gives you a lot of information about the planet and what is happening at the moment. In the upper left, we see a picture of the planet itself. This changes depending on which race you are playing, what kind of planet it is on, and what level of development it is at. We can also see some text that describes the planet. The first one says the kind of specialization the planet has. In this case, it is the Undine capital. Specializations are set automatically depending on certain conditions. The capital of the Undine, for example, will always have the Undine capital's specialization. Each specialization gives you various boosts to your planet. Working with the specializations in terms of buildings is a good idea. The second one describes the planet type. This is a bioplanet, which is specific for the Undine. For Undine pops, it is 100% habitable. Depending on what kind of pops you have, this number will change. The number shown to the right shows the habitability for the most suited pop in your empire. The more species you have, the more likely that you are going to have one that is suitable for the planet that you want to colonize. To the right of this is a number that shows the planet size. As you can see, this planet has a size of 25, meaning that I could build 25 districts. As you can see, I have already built 7 housing districts, and there are 18 left that are still available. The next element in this section is the governor portrait, which will show you who is currently acting as governor for this planet and/or sector. As you can see here, I do not have a governor at the moment, which is why the portrait is blank. If you do have a governor here, their information will be shown in this position. And finally, we have the planetary modifiers, which may either help or hinder certain aspects of your planet, such as its habitability, its production, how happy your pops are, etc. This is also very important to know to help you plan what you're going to do with this planet. Below this, we see the buildings and districts that are built on this planet. For more information on districts, please see the district tutorial in the tutorials playlist. There's also a video that goes through all the buildings, what they do, and what you need from them in the playlist as well. Before we move on, there are a couple more elements to this tab that are very important. Next to the districts is a small panel that gives you a lot of information about the makeup of your planet. At the top of this panel, you will see the amount of trade value that is being generated by the planet. Below that, there is a button where you can see the planet, as well as any special districts and/or modifiers. This is especially important when you're looking for a planet to build a special building on that needs a specific deposit to build it. Here are some examples of those special deposits. On the planet Limin, I can create a Trillium mine, a Pergium mine, a Jevonite Otterson shop, and 7 naval supply depots because of the rare features on this planet. We can also see that I have the Great Biomass Lake and the Undine Mustering Den on this planet as well. The number of blockers and deposits are shown below this button. Next to this, we can see how much your planet is using and producing in terms of all of the resources that appear in the game. This also includes research, influence, and Unity production. As you can see here, this planet is producing a lot of the resources that my empire needs, but it is using 8 minerals per month. Slightly above this panel shows you some basic information about your planet's stability and what the pops are doing on your planet. The top icon indicates the amount of crime on your planet. As you can see here, there is 0 crime on my planet. Below this shows the amount of available housing. Here I have the number 40 next to the city icon, which means that I have enough housing to house 40 more pops. Below this is your amenities amount, which shows you how entertained your pops are. As you can see, I am in the negative with -6. Below this, the icon with the person and the worker's hat shows you how many available jobs there are on this planet. I have 41 available jobs. Quick tip, it is generally a good idea to make sure the amount of housing you have available and the number of jobs that you will have available are roughly equal. If you find you're running out of housing, build another city district. In the next column, we have the stability at the very top. Generally, having stability over 50% means that you will not have any penalties. Below this number is the total number of pops that you have on your planet, which in my case is 137. Next to this, we see two buttons. The first is the Decisions button, which allows you to take actions that affect the planet. The Undines do not have many decisions, but for all decisions for all races and empires, those will all be found under this button. For example, if you're playing as United Earth and you want to terraform Mars, this is where you will find that decision. The Resettle button allows you to resettle all pops from one planet to another if you have the policy that allows you to move your pops. Empires like the Federation generally do not allow you to move pops by yourself, so this may be unavailable to you. The Undine though can move their own pops, so if you click this button, you will open the resettlement window, which allows you to shuffle pops between two planets. Simply choose the two planets you would like to move pops between and then press the green arrows to move them. Note that this does require energy to move them, so make sure you have enough. By default, it costs 100 energy to move a pop. However, this can be reduced via research and tradition options. Back on the planet window, below the two buttons is information about which sector your planet is currently in. Here we can see that Limon is part of the core sector. We can also see this in the outlier. Below this is a way to automate your planet if you would like. By default, this is turned off. However, you can turn it on and set different automation types that focus on building different sets of buildings. You can go for a more balanced automation, or choose from one of the specializations available. Generally, I would recommend you do not use this feature, as the AI unfortunately is not very reliable with it. At the bottom, you can change to a new tab. We are going to change to the Population tab. This is the Population tab. As you can see, the top half of the window looks the same as it did on the Planet Summary tab. The bottom half is where we see changes. On the left side, we see all of the jobs on this planet. If the number is white and solid, that means that all of the jobs available for this type of job are filled. If you see a fraction in yellow, this means that the upper number of jobs is taken out of a total number of jobs on the bottom. These jobs are ranked into various tiers. For most empires, you have rulers, specialists, and worker tiers. There are some empires that use complex drone and menial drone tiers, however, such as the Undine and the Borg. Here, beneath the tier symbol, you can see that the total number of pops that fall into this tier. Next to this, under the icon of the briefcase, with the red slash through it, you will see a number. If the number is 0, that means you have no unemployed pops and it will be green for this tier. Anything else will show a red number. On the right side of this tab, we can see a breakdown of the demographics. This is represented very nicely with the pie chart near the bottom, which tells you how many of each type of pops exist on this planet. Next to the word demographics is a smiley face with a number next to it. This shows the average pop happiness on your planet in percentage. Below this and above the pie chart shows you the various ways that your pops are changing. The first square is growing. Most pops in the game are created over time by naturally growing and reproducing. You can see how quickly or how slowly this is going by looking at the number below, next to the symbol. In the middle, we can see that there is a pop assembling. Certain types of pops, such as robots or androids, the Undine, and Borg pops are assembled rather than grown. This is also true of clone populations, such as the Jem'Hadar and the Vorta. Next to this shows the declining rate of pops. If you have a policy set in your species windows to eliminate some sort of pop, for example the Undine always eliminate Borg pops, this will show you how quickly they are being eliminated. The rate at which pops grow or are assembled can be increased via tradition and research options. They can also be negatively affected due to new colonies or the development of your current planet. Now we will switch to the Armies tab. Again, we can see that the top half of the screen has not changed. On the left side, we have the button to recruit armies. This opens the list on the right, which then allows you to select a type of army to build. Once you have selected the type of army you would like, it will show up in the build queue, which also tells you how much time is left until this army is completed. On this planet, you can see that there are currently no armies. Typically on planets, you will only find defensive armies. These are created via buildings and are manned over time. These cannot be created. When you create an army, you are creating an offensive army. Generally, these are usually transported directly into the space above your planet in their own transport ships. However, if for some reason your offensive armies are not automatically being transported into space, you can press the Embark All option, which will do the same thing. Between the armies and the build queue panels is the devastation level. As a planet is bombarded from space, the devastation level will increase. Currently, we are at the green level, which means there's little to no devastation and no negative impact on this planet. As the level increases, which is on a scale from 0 to 100%, this reduces our pops' happiness and productivity and may eventually start killing pops as well. To the right of this, you can see any information about generals currently assigned to defend this planet. If, for example, you've landed a bunch of offensive armies on one of your planets and they have a general, you would see them appear here in this box. However, by default, there are no generals on your planets, although you can certainly assign one. The last tab is the Corporate tab. If you're playing as an economic empire and have the Megacorps expansion for Stellaris, you would have access to this tab where you could open branch offices and do things the economic empires can do. This will be covered in another tutorial video specifically for these types of empires. The last thing we have to talk about is all the buttons at the very top right of this window. The direction buttons will take you to the previous and next planets respectively. The third button, which looks like a large building with an arrow, allows you to move your capital to this planet. It costs 250 influence to do this, however. If you do not have enough influence, this button will be greyed out. The button next to that is the Move Camera button, which, as it says, will move the camera to this planet if it's not there already. The final button is the X, which of course closes this window.
Well guys, thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, make sure you give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to both of our channels. If you find you're struggling at all with Star Trek New Horizons, then please do check out our tips, tricks and tutorials playlist linked in the description below and at the end of this video.
We also have a Discord server we call The Collective. We discuss everything from these videos to Star Trek in general to what we're having for Sunday lunch. We also make our announcements there as well and organise multiplayer games that you can play with us. You can join our collective using the link in the description below.
The collective must grow.
Alright, that's it from us for now.
See you next time.
Make it so.